So, how do you separate this signal from all the noise out there? I mean, we're just flooded with information, right? Well, it turns out there's this single, really elegant piece of logic that helps us, update our beliefs when we see new evidence. It's this incredible tool called Bayes' Theorem, and we're going to dive into how it works.
And look, this isn't just some dusty, obscure math formula. In fields like AI and machine learning, it's legendary. Seriously, they actually call it the holy grail of pattern recognition. I mean, that's some pretty high praise, right?
Okay, so what is this thing? How does this so-called holy grail actually help us dig through a mountain of data to find the truth? The best way to get a handle on it is to think like a detective. Let's imagine we're on a case, and Bayes' theorem, well, that's our secret weapon.
All right, so let's pop open this detective's toolkit and see what's inside. We're going to break down the formula, but not as some scary math equation. Think of it more like 3 simple, intuitive tools that anyone can use.
Okay, first up, we've got the prior. The easiest way to think about this is it's just your initial hunch, right? It's what you believe before you see any hard evidence. For our detective, this might be their list of usual suspects based on years of experience, or, just how common a certain type of crime is in the first place. It's our baseline, our starting point.
Then we find a clue, and that's where the likelihood comes into play. This is all about measuring how well that new clue, the evidence, fits with a particular suspect or a hypothesis. So, if our theory is that the suspect is a notorious cat burglar, how likely is it that we'd find, say, cat hair at the crime scene? That's the likelihood.
And finally, this is where the magic happens. We get to the posterior probability. This is your new updated suspicion. It's what you get when you systematically combine your initial hunch, that prior, with the power of your new clue, the likelihood. What you're left with is a revised, smarter, and way more informed belief.
So, let's just do a quick recap of these 3 parts. You have the prior, that's your starting point. How likely is something in general? Then you have the likelihood. How well does the evidence you just found support your idea? And finally, you get the posterior, your new updated belief once you've considered the evidence. It's this beautiful, logical path from a gut feeling to a much more solid conclusion.
All right, theory's great, but let's put our detective skills to the test. We're going to tackle a classic case file, this one from the world of medical diagnosis. And trust me, it's called the surprising test result for a reason.
So here are the facts of the case. Listen closely. There's a rare disease, and it only affects about 1% of the population. Okay, right there, ding, ding, ding. That's our prior. Our starting belief is that it's very unlikely someone has this. Now, there's a test for it, and it's pretty good. It's 95% accurate at detecting the disease if you actually have it. But, and this is a big but, it also has a 10% false positive rate. That means 10% of totally healthy people will test positive by mistake.
Okay, so with all that in mind, a patient comes in and they test positive. Now, what's your gut tell you? What is the actual chance they have the disease? Come on, be honest. Most of us, our intuition just screams, well, it's got to be around 95% or something really high, right? But is it?
See, to solve this, our Bayesian detective doesn't get tunnel vision on that 95% accuracy number. Nope, they look at the whole picture. You have to consider all the people who could possibly test positive. And that's 2 groups, right? There's the tiny group of sick people who get a correct positive test, and there's the much, much larger group of healthy people, a small fraction of whom will get a false positive. We have to weigh both of those to figure out what that positive test really means.
And when you do the math, the actual probability is just 8.76%. Yeah. Let that sink in for a minute. You have a positive result from a test that's 95% accurate, and yet there's less than a 9% chance the person is actually sick. Wild, right?
So, what on earth is going on here? This is a perfect example of a super common mental trap called the base rate fallacy. Our brains, our intuition, we latch onto that big, flashy 95% accuracy number, and we completely ignore the single most important piece of information, the base rate. The fact that the disease is insanely rare to begin with, because our prior, that 1% base rate is so low, even a small percentage of false alarms from the huge pool of healthy people completely drowns out the real positive cases. And that's why Bayes' theorem is so powerful. It forces you to respect that starting point.
So that mental trap we just fell into, the base rate fallacy, it's a perfect example of why our intuition can sometimes lead us way, way astray. And it's also why Bayes' theorem isn't just a neat thought experiment. It's the actual secret sauce powering a ton of the technology you and I use every single day. I mean, think about your spam filter. Ever wonder how it knows that an email with the words "free money" is probably junk? Yep, it's using Bayes' theorem. It has a prior belief. Most email is not spam, and it updates that belief based on the likelihood of seeing certain words. It's the same exact logic powering medical diagnostic software, the AI that can tell a cat from a dog in a photo, and really the foundation of tons of machine learning algorithms.
And at the core of a lot of these systems is a beautifully simple rule. It's called the Bayes optimal classifier. All it says is this: when you have to make a choice, always go with the option that has the highest posterior probability. That's it. It sounds simple, but it's mathematically proven to be the decision that gives you the fewest errors in the long run. Pretty cool.
But honestly, forget about all the technology for a second. The most profound, the most powerful idea here is how we can use this framework to update our own beliefs. This is, quite literally, a formula for how to learn.
What makes this so incredible is that the process is continuous. Here's the key idea. Today's posterior becomes tomorrow's prior. Let that roll around for a second. Imagine you think a coin is fair, a 50-50 shot. That's your prior. You flip it, it comes up heads. Okay, your new belief, your posterior, shifts just a tiny bit towards heads. You flip it again, another heads. Your belief in heads gets a little stronger. Then you get a tails, and your belief shifts back toward the middle. You see? With every single flip, with every new piece of evidence, your belief slowly but surely gets closer and closer to the true nature of that coin. That is learning in a nutshell.
So, it's pretty clear, right? Bayes' theorem is way more than just a math equation.
What it really is a formal rule for how to learn from the world around you. It's a structured way to change your mind when you see new facts, a process for weighing what you thought you knew against what the evidence is telling you now. So, the big question I want to leave you with isn't about spam filters or medical tests. It's about you. How might you use this way of thinking?